the big question for everyone is where the TV marketplace is going. Everyone wants to get some of those dollars moved from, I guess, what we would call traditional TV into the online space. I think two or three things have to happen. The first is that the advertiser needs to put the same value on their ads appearing on, catch-up TV, catch-up video on demand type inventory, so that we can start to normalize the TV eyeballs with the online eyeballs, which is 2 or 3 years ago was difficult to do. Today, with so many people watching catch-up TV, I think it's a lot easier to do and will continue to be so. So if we can normalize that value and the advertiser sees the same value, then that will help the broadcasters to be able to say, well, okay, we're now talking about one thing. And the more we do that, the more we're able to obviously employ digital technology when it comes to tablets, desktop, and so on. Secondly, the technology itself, needs to catch up. So the TV broadcast market, as we know, is set up very, very differently. And while we're not ad-serving ads and being able to have that kind of central control, we're always going to have a much more clunky way of being able to target within TV. That said, we all know that over here there's something like 40 million households are now, probably without knowing it, receiving, through the cable networks, are receiving programmatic ads, if you like. With Sky in Europe, they are very rapidly pushing their tests to programmatic, and that's really just understanding through the set-top box who is in the household and loading up an ad to show them at a relevant time. So all the tests are underway. There's no doubt that programmatic, data-driven TV advertising is well underway. It's how it scales up, and whether or not which really comes to my last point, whether or not the broadcast houses can get their heads around what would be a wholesale shift in how they trade their media. I mean, we're talking about changing a model that is so embedded and has such traditions that you're really going to turn that upside down, and that takes a root to branch transition for these broadcasters, and that probably will be the bit that takes the longest.
And finally, Marco, you are heading to DMEXCO next month. What are some of the big topics you think that your clients want to know about? What are some of the big trends and issues that are bubbling up that need to be addressed that you want to communicate?
Oh, I think we're only a month or so away, if maybe less, was it a couple of weeks away from DMEXCO, so I think the issues will be the same, especially when it comes to advertisers. Advertisers are now trying to work out how can they maximize the use of their data, as well as third-party data. They're looking to understand what they're getting from their agency partners. They want to understand whether their advertising is safe. We've had a number of sort of scare stories over the last few months. So there will be what I would describe as more the infrastructure and process approach to, they want to understand that more. And then I think we're going to see continued sophistication in the data space. Data management platforms really are becoming something that are day in, day out now being hooked up with our campaigns, and people want to understand how they can make the most of those data management platforms. The advertisers themselves have their own challenges, because now, if you start to really get serious about hooking up a data management platform to your business, potentially linking it to your CRM database, now the advertisers are having to look internally at all their various stakeholders and understand and negotiate internally with them to really get access to data and processes that they never had to get access to before. So I think the advertisers are looking outwards and inwards at the moment to make the most of this programmatic space.